Welcome back to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. We are in Trenton speaking with Senate President Steve Sweeney. A lot on your plate. Let's talk about the roads and bridges. When will work start on them again?
Larry, I don't know. We have to come up with an agreement with the governor in order to move forward. We had an agreement with the speaker, and this is the second time the speaker's actually changed his mind. Back on June 27th, we were moving forward. We had a bill that we agreed to, the one we actually agreed to this time, almost identical. And at the last minute, he pulled out. Just so you know, and when I originally sat with the speaker on the 27th, I thought everything looked good. The problem was the numbers that they showed us weren't right.
We should back up a second and let people know what we're talking about. You're talking about the 23-cent increase in the gas tax, and that's tied to the transportation fund, and that's why the work is being held up. I just wanted to make sure people were clear on that.
And what happened was we thought we had a plan, but we realized the numbers weren't correct, and we would have caused too much damage to our budget going forward. Well, after we basically agreed not to go forward, the Assembly went forward that night and passed a bill that the governor supports that basically will bankrupt our ability to do anything going forward.
Because it reduced the sales tax.
It takes the sales tax. You're talking about losing about $1.9 billion, and we don't have that kind of money. The bill that we pushed, and I'm telling you, there was a lot of tax cuts, but the tax cuts were what we believed in. One of them was retirement income. We're one of the few states that taxes retirement income at a low level. We wanted to raise it to $100,000 to help try to keep our seniors here. There was an estate tax elimination because, again, people leave. And we stretched it was $900 million. We couldn't do 1.9. We just couldn't. So now what we're at is we're at a point where I'm working hard to get the votes in my house to pass a bill that the Speaker and I agreed to do. I'm pretty sure I'm one vote away from doing it, and the Assembly sends out a letter saying we all should get in a room. Well, to get in a room with the governor right now, the governor's already told me he has a bill that the Assembly passed with 43 Democrats. So why would he move off of that position? And I understand that. My point is we just can't afford it. So we're really at a point where unless there's a real willingness to kind of give, we thought we did that with the $900 million in tax cuts. Think about it. In New Jersey, when would we ever talk about cutting taxes $900 million? But we really thought all the way around we could do it.
But how dangerous is this stalemate? I mean, are the work being frozen on roads and bridges? Is there a danger? Is there a bridge in such bad shape it could collapse?
Well, listen, it's not healthy, I can tell you that. But they from my understanding, is the administration's frozen enough money for emergency repairs. What they do is they shut bridges down when they're not safe. They've been doing that for over a year. This is just bad policy. More than anything else, it's bad policy not to have a transportation trust fund in place. No one wants to pay any more for gas. I get it, but roads aren't free, and I don't know where they think the money's going to come from. In order to maintain our roads and bridges, and every time they take a bridge out or they take a road out, or because it's just not in good condition, that costs even more money.
Right, and there's some contractors that aren't working now too. So you have jobs.
You have thousands of jobs. You have businesses that should be busy now. Now you have people collecting unemployment when they should be working. All the way around, this is a disaster for the state of New Jersey. But more importantly, as we're trying to attract businesses, you got to show people you have a reliable transportation system. Connecticut's talking about $100 billion in infrastructure. New York, $100 billion in infrastructure. In Pennsylvania a few years ago, I mean, they're fixing all their bridges. So, people want reliability. New Jersey's a logistics state. We have a big port up here, up in the northern part of the state. We need to make sure we can move people and products.
People look at you, and they look at Speaker Prieto, and they look at Governor. They blame all of you, that you can't get along, and that you can't settle this. Is that fair?
Well, everyone has a right to blame us. We're in the leadership. Everyone has a right to blame the three of us. We're in leadership. Problem is, we went down a road with a plan with Speaker Prieto that he agreed to with me, and then he changed it. And decided to to approve a $1.9 billion tax cut. I don't blame Christie at all for that. You know, that's what he wanted, and the Assembly gave it to him. I don't think you would have the Assembly members vote for that again, because they voted for it 1:30 in the morning, and you know, now they realize that the damage it would have caused to future budgets, the inability to fund projects, and honestly, to fund our pension. We could never fund the pension if I had gone along with that TTF. And look, this hurts me personally. I mean, not personally, but professionally, because I represent the ironworkers union in this state. There's ironworkers being laid off every single day because, you know, there's no money to fix the bridges. This is bad all the way around.
I read somewhere where you blamed Governor Christie because of his involvement in the national election, and that he's not as involved as he should be.
Well, I feel that way because he's not. He gave me an offer. I gave him an offer. Neither one was acceptable. We were trying to mitigate this. But why? What's his incentive to pass a gas tax before the presidential election is what I'm saying. It's just my opinion. Why would he want to pass a gas tax? You know, we get to Labor Day and we don't have this resolved. You're 60 days from a national election where you're running the candidate's transition team and quite possibly wind up being a cabinet member. Why would you sign a big gas tax at that point? Look, the governor got what he wanted from the Assembly, and we went back to the Assembly and said, let's go forward with a new plan. We've been working for weeks in my house on that new plan. Call the Speaker up, and we're going to go. He wants to go back and negotiate with the governor again.
So the original question, we don't know how long this is going to take. It's going to be in the next year?
I certainly hope. Listen, every single day we're hurting innocent people. So every single day we have to hope that we can come to an agreement. But compromise means, and I do this for a living, Larry, I negotiate for a living. Compromise is when all parties are willing to come together. If you're at 1.9 billion, and we already compromised to 900 million, which is as much as we can go, you got to work off that 900 million and not the 1.9.
Well, I wanted to get to the school funding, but we're out of time, so I'd love to talk to you again. Sure. Because I know you have a plan that you're pushing to make the school funding a little bit more fair. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, sir.
Senate President Steve Sweeney. Jersey Matters continues right after this.